what's at stake here tonight is a trip. The winner goes to the regional the state semifinals. Of course, this is the regional finals. It should be a great ball game.
Yeah, it definitely is, Javi. PSJ North, this is their first time at this level. Of course, they've attempted to be here before. Last year, they got knocked out by Austin Westlake. 2003, Javi, they were real close. Coach Orlando Garcia was the head coach. And, unfortunately, they lost to San Antonio O'Connor 27-1. But they have a great opportunity here to advance to the state semifinal for the first time in school history. So I expect a great matchup, of course. Corpus Christi veterans, this is their sixth year in the third round. So will experience play a factor. There's a lot of seniors on that ball club. We looked at the roster, but I expect this PSJ North defense and PSJ North front line to do what they've done all season long, and that's take people down to the ground. 44 pancakes last week, Javi. It's a lot for an offensive line.
Very impressive. And again, Jonathan, I think all year long we've been talking about it. The key to winning for the Raiders is dominating that offensive line. They're big, they're strong, they're nasty. And when you flip it over on the defensive front for the Raiders, they are just as vicious. The linebackers hit hard. The secondary can cover in coverage. And I think that's going to be the main key tonight, because the opposing team, the home team, the more experienced team, the Corpus Christi Veterans Memorial Eagles, their experience, they like to throw the ball a lot more. The Raiders haven't seen a throwing football team in quite a while. I think that's going to be the determining factor tonight. Who can win the line of scrimmage, and can the Raiders defend the air attack of the Eagles?
Well, we saw them against Corpus Christi Miller, Javi, and they did very well against the pass. But like as you mentioned, this is a dual threat team. They can run it, they can throw it. And Corpus Christi Miller was more, more of a passing team. Of course, they held their stud receiver who had signed with Sam Houston State to only 65 receiving yards. So that was a great job, and that's credit to Coach Espadas and his defensive staff for always having a game plan defensively. Last week we saw them against Brownsville Veterans, Javi, a team who had just scored almost 70 points,
right,
and had a running back that had, I believe it was 6 or 7 touchdowns, and they shut him down to one touchdown.
9 touchdowns.
Oh, excuse me, I'm sorry, 9 touchdowns, and they held him to 1 touchdown. So again, that black shirt defense is definitely going to have to come to play today.
Well, the black shirt defense will get the first opportunity as the Raiders are going to kick off. We're about set to get underway here from Buccaneer Stadium, regional finals, and we are underway. Eagles receiving in their all blue unis, while the Raiders are on their away whites. A good kickoff return, and the Eagles are going to have solid field position at their own 31-yard line.
Yeah, and in all honesty, PSJ North is not just playing for PSJ, Javi. They're playing for the entire Rio Grande Valley. So we want to welcome all the viewers who are online right now. The only team, Last Valley's man standing. So, we want to wish again. We want to thank everybody for tuning into this game, and we hope you enjoy the broadcast.
Yes, and of course, if you look at the stands on the away side, the Raiders side, it's almost jam-packed, almost a capacity crowd. And you look over at the home side, it is nearly packed as well. So this stadium fits 13,000 people. I want to gander. There's at least 10,000 here. Great atmosphere. We're in Corpus Christi. On first down, the Eagles are going to pass. Great pocket, great reception made by number 2, Sabuk. And the Eagles, as we mentioned, they're a threat throwing the ball, and on first down, they get big-time yardage, moving the ball from their own 31-yard line up to the 47, a 16-yard pickup. So the first down of the ball game goes to the Eagles on the very first play. New set of downs for the Eagles. Of course, they're led by their quarterback, Elijah Durrett. He's thrown for 31 touchdowns, only 8 interceptions, 2,695 yards. Durrett scrambles. Elusive is Durrett, and Durrett is going to avoid the sack and pick up maybe a yard, maybe back to the line of scrimmage. It all depends on the spot. They're going to give him 1, so pick up a 1 by the quarterback. 2nd and 9, upcoming.
Yeah, and that's one thing PSJ North, I think, is going to have to do. They're going to have to try to keep Durrett in the pocket, Javi. He has speed, as we saw right there. He tried to get to the outside edge, but, of course, that right there was number 6, Mikey Gonzalez, forcing him out of bounds.
And, of course, Elijah Durrett, a dual-threat quarterback, 2,695 yards passing, 608 yards rushing, 31 touchdowns on the season. Of course, these are regular season stats. We do not have any playoff stats, so I'm sure he's got a lot more than that. And a big-time collision right there by the black shirt defense. That was big old number 99 making a statement for the Raiders.
Yeah, that's Danny Garcia, stats
Mhm.
6'1". Javi, he's a big boy, and of course his brother, uh, Dante Garcia, sits on the other side at left tackle, standing 6'2". That's amazing size for two brothers.
3rd and 10 upcoming for the Eagles as the black shirt defense gets their first tackle for a loss. Shotgun formation. 4 receivers in this set. Durrett looks, throws, fires. He's got a man, and it's going to be incomplete. So the Raiders are going to force a 4th down. So the Raiders give up a first down on the initial play. The Eagles come up empty after a new set of downs, and they're going to be forced into 4th and 10, and the punt unit will take the field.
That's a great stop right there for the Raiders, Javi, especially because now you play keep away.
Mhm.
Now you do what you've done all season long, and that's control time of possession. We've seen PSJA North possess the ball for 5, 6, 7 minutes at a time. So I expect very long drives. And talking to Coach Kaufman, he says we're going to keep the ball away from Corpus Christi as long as we can because that's going to be our best defense.
Well, I believe the Raiders have just called a timeout. It's 4th and 10. And I guess perhaps not the right personnel was out there for the Raiders. So Coach Kaufman elects to call a timeout. And of course, right now, as you can see, a tremendous crowd, Jonathan, both on the visitor side. And as you mentioned, it's not just only the PSJA area, it's the whole Rio Grande Valley that is supporting the Raiders this evening. And of course, a great home crowd by the Eagles as well.
Yeah, we got here about 3 o'clock, and there was already people lined up. Javi,
Mhm.
as soon as that doors opened up at 4:30, there was already that middle of the stands was already getting packed, and yeah, as you mentioned, people from all over the valley. I saw shirts from Donna, from Edinburgh,
Yes.
from Ed Chelsea. So again, it just goes to showing a testament of how big this game is for the valley.
It is a big game for the Valley, trying to get to the state semifinals for the first time since 2003. The last team to do that was Port Isabel. Low snap, gathered up by the punter. Good punt. It's going to fall at the 25, take a big pop, and the Raiders are going to let it roll. The Eagles are going to finally down it at about the 10-yard line. So great job by the special teams unit, and the Raiders are going to be pinned back at their own 10-yard line on their very first play of the game. Of course, there's 10 minutes and 27 seconds remaining here in the opening quarter. Regional finals, the 15 5A district champs, the PSJA North Raiders, taking on the 14 5A district champs, the Corpus Christi Veterans Memorial Eagles.
Yeah, at quarterback, we're going to see number 3, Ali Aparicio, who comes in with 1,530 passing yards. He has 19 passing TDs.
And on first down, it's a give up the middle, testing that feisty defense from the Eagles, and maybe a yard, not much more than that, up to the 11. And this is where I think, it was mentioned earlier during the week, as Coach Kaufman mentioned, this is where the Eagles mirror the Raiders. They have a very tough, rugged defense. They're big and strong up front. They got linebackers and quarterback secondary that can fill up the gaps quickly. This is going to be a big test for what I think is probably the best offensive line we've seen in quite a while from PSJA North and pretty much the entire Rio Grande Valley. On second down, it's a toss outside. It's a pitch. It's a catch. Good yards after the reception, after contact. And that was
Julius Arredondo right there on that reception.
so Arredondo with the first reception of the game off the arm of Aparicio up to the 23. So a 12-yard pickup. And that'll be the initial first down for the Raiders.
Yeah. And we saw a lot of that last week, Javi. We saw them throw the ball 8 times. The only incomplete pass that Aparicio had was when he had to spike the ball.
So the Raiders test the running game once again, and again, nothing doing as the stout Eagles defense collapses on the ball here right at the line of scrimmage. No gain, so that'll bring up a 2nd and 10 from the Raiders' 23-yard line. Of course, this is the Raiders' first possession. The Eagles received the opening possession. They picked up a first down, had to settle for a punt. And with 9 minutes remaining here in the opening quarter, this is the 4th play from scrimmage for the Raiders. Of course, this drive began at the Raider 10-yard line. It's a dive up the middle. Good bruising run there by Montes. And Montes is going to move the ball up to the 27-yard line. Maybe a pickup of 3 or 4. Not much more than that. 3rd down upcoming. 3rd and 7 from the 26. So credit Montes with a 3-yard pickup.
Yeah, and Montes last week only had 100 100 yards exactly, Javi, on 19 carries. We saw Ethan Guerra do a load of the work. So I expect, a lot of mixing up, a lot of different looks from the PSA North Raiders.
So on third down, keeping it on the ground on the Raiders, and the ball is loose. And who's going to recover it? I believe it's going to be the Eagles. So the first turnover of the game is forced by the Eagles defense, and they're going to have tremendous field position at the Raiders 37-yard line. As I mentioned, Jonathan, this is a hard-hitting team. They hit the ball, the carrier right at the ball, shoulders right at the ball, force the fumble. The Eagles recover it, and they're going to have excellent field position at their own 37-yard line.
Yeah, and that's tough because, we really don't see Montes fumble the ball a lot. I don't think I've ever seen him fumble the ball. We've covered a lot of PSJ North games. And so, Montes had already gotten the first down, but it might have been that extra trying to get more yards that, maybe the ball, he was swinging the ball a little bit, which allowed the defense to hit him right at that ball.
So the Eagles back at work. Their quarterback flushed out of the pocket, scrambling, still looking. Finally fires, throws. He's got a man. Is it going to be caught? I believe the reception was made, but out of bounds, almost making a spectacular catch where the Eagles, I'll tell you what, this is a good-looking quarterback. Elijah Durrett, he throws the ball well. He sits in the pocket well, and, of course, that was Sabuk, his Subsuk, and I hope I don't butcher his name. My apologies if I do, but I believe that is Christian Subsuk, who almost made a spectacular catch. So 2nd and 10 upcoming. It's a give. Big gaping hole. And the Eagles are off and running. They're going to cross the 30. Well, they're going to spot them down right at the 30-yard line. So that's going to be a gain of 7. Good run right there. I believe that was Jaden Castañeda, who comes into the game with over 1,000 yards rushing on the season.
Yeah, Castañeda, a very good-looking running back, Javi. I believe he, last week against Mackay, they were backed up at their own 4 or 5 yard line, and they gave a dive up the middle to Castañeda, and he took off, and they weren't going to touch him. So he has breakaway speed, and PSJ North going to have to contain him.
3rd and 3. It's a handoff. This time it's Luke Moya, and Moya is going to get stuffed right at the line of scrimmage, right at the 30. So the black shirt defense, they're bending, but they're not breaking. It's going to be 4th down. Very interesting here to see what Coach Bittner does here on 4th and 3 from the Raiders 30-yard line. Of course, they just forced a Raider fumble. We got 7-11 remaining here in the opening quarter here at Buccaneer Stadium in Corpus Christi Regional Finals. It's a good one. Scoreless ball game. Raiders and the Eagles. Right now, the Eagles empty backfield. Durrett all alone. I believe the Eagles are going to go for it. They got a man in motion. That's Moya. They're going to fake it to him, bring it back across. And Subsuk is going to fight his way up to the 25-yard line. He got hit at about right at the first down marker. Great job right there by that young man fighting for those 2 extra yards. Christian Subsuk with a first down, and the Eagles are in business now. New set of downs at the Raiders' 25-yard line.
Yeah, and I expect a lot of those quick screens from Durrett, because last week, Javi, it's the same thing. They just throw those quick screens and allow Subsuk to just go to work. And as we saw there, just very athletic, able to get those 5 yards that he needed.
Durrett looks, fires. He's going over the top into the end zone. Well covered, into heavy coverage. Is a reception made? And it will be. That'll be a touchdown for the Eagles. So the Eagles strike gold first. They force a turnover defensively, and now they get into the end zone. The Eagles take a quick early lead here with 6:13 remaining in the game. I'm not sure who made the reception, but fine, spectacular reception. Great pass by Durrett. Eagles are on top, 6-0.
Yeah, I believe that was Subsuk again, Javi. But and I think what happened there defensively, North was in position. They were in position to make either interception or deflection. But going up, sometimes it's better to just try to deflect the ball rather than try to intercept it, because that ball slips by your hands. That's what's going to happen right there.
It was a pass into double coverage. Subsuk beat his 2 defenders. The extra point is good. So with 6:13 remaining here in the opening quarter here at Buccaneer Stadium, it is the Eagles 7, the Raiders 0.
I mean, and if you're PSJ North, you have nothing to panic about right now. There's 6 minutes left in the game. In the quarter. You have 3 quarters left to play. You gave up the ball, on your own territory. You just got to, have better ball control. You got to understand that, they're going to come at you. They're going to hit the ball, and get the first down that you need to get, and live to play another play.
Well, that's the one thing we did not cover, and that is the turnover margin. And we've covered the Raiders all year long, Jonathan, and we've covered them fortunately all three games. By district area last week, regional quarterfinals, and of course now in the regional semifinals. Now here in the regional finals, and that's the one thing that they have been winning, the turnover margin. Of course, it's early in the ball game, as you mentioned, but the advantage right now goes 1-0 in turnovers to the Eagles, and they took good advantage of it. A touchdown pass, and the Eagles are quickly up 7-0 with 6:13 remaining here in the first quarter.
Yeah, and you have to credit that defense from Corpus, for that touchdown, and credit Subsuk also, Javi. He got the first down that was needed,
Mm-hmm.
but PSJ North again, they're gonna have to go back and just do what they got to do. This tough defense from Corpus is just, they got to go to work, Javi. You can't make excuses, especially this round.
Well, the kickoff's going to sail into the end zone. A fine job of kicking there by Isaac Rojas, and that'll be a touchback. So the Raiders are going to have their second possession as they trail 7-0 at their own 25-yard line. And this is what's key right here, Jonathan. I think it's going to be key for both teams, both the Eagles and the Raiders. In a game of this magnitude, you've got to answer your opponent's scores. If you don't, if you get behind a couple scores, that's when maybe the panic button's going to get hit, and that's when it's going to go all south. And right now, the Raiders are going to try to answer. And on first down, that big offensive line gets a good, solid push, 4 yards up to the 29.
Yeah, and Javi, I said it last when we covered North against Corpus Christi Miller.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of air raid offense over here. You really don't get to see an offensive line like PSJ North that's just going to beat you down every play.
Right.
And I think that's the advantage that PSJ North has. And I think PSJ North does better in the third and fourth quarter, because by that time, that defensive line is taking a beating already.
Well, right now it's as even as it can get, and a big time run, and again a big time collision after the Raiders pick up a first down, a bruising run from the 29 all the way up to the 37, 8-yard pickup, and the Raiders are going to pick up their second first down of the ball game. We're at the 5.5-minute mark of the first quarter. Of course, the Eagles have had it twice. They scored on their second possession, a 37-yard drive on only 5 plays. The Raiders, second attempt with the ball. Aparicio hands it up. And again, just a smothering defense right at the line of scrimmage. And I don't know if that was a linebacker or a secondary on a run blitz, but he got into the backfield very quickly, disrupted the play. No yards in the game, 2nd and 10 upcoming.
Yeah, and I think one thing that Coach Kaufman does very well, Javi, is that he'll give up that 1 yard run or that no gain run, and then he'll come back with a counter. He'll come back with a toss, and I think all he's trying to do is just test to see where that weak side is. That's about the 4th time we've seen a run to that left side. So they might have seen something on film that not everybody sees as they see a toss again here to Montes.
And Montes is going to get bottled up in the backfield, swarming defense. That was about 5 or 6 Eagles swarming in the backfield. No chance for Montes. A loss on the play. Back all the way to the 35-yard line. Loss of 2. 3rd and long upcoming for the Raiders. And, of course, that is the first tackle for a loss for the Eagles defense.
That's a very something that we really don't see very often, Javi, is a tackle for loss against PSJ North. But again, as you mentioned, there's no need to press on the panic button right now. There's still a lot of time, and now you're going to see PSJ North come out in that spread formation that they were real successful with last week.
Well, right now the Eagles have, there's going to be a timeout called by the Eagles. So each team now has called a timeout. We're exactly at the 4-minute mark of the opening quarter here in the regional finals from Corpus Christi, of course, at the beautiful Buccaneer Stadium. Built in 1937, Jonathan. Imagine that. A lot of good teams, a lot of great games. Even the Beach Boys have had a concert here, so that's awesome.
Yeah, no, it's seeing the stadium from the outside, it doesn't, you can't appreciate how once you walk in here, it's a beautiful facility. The press box that we're in is impeccable. It's just amazing. It's almost like we're at a college or professional stadium.
Absolutely, and of course, we want to
Yeah, Javi, right now I believe we're at about 9,000 viewers. So welcome to our 9,000 viewers. If you did just jumped on right now, and we want to give credit to our
Yes, I was going to say, we want to give credit to Corpus Christi ISD, to Miss Brenda Marshall, the Senior Director of Athletics, and of course, their superintendent here at Corpus Christi ISD, Dr. Roland Hernandez, for their generosity, their courtesy. I mean, they are treating us with royalty, first class facilities, and we're happy to be here. And we thank you for your hospitality. So on first down, big time coming out of the timeout, it's Julius Arredondo making the reception. So crossing midfield for the first time this evening are the Raiders. They're going to now be 1 for 2 on third down situations. Big time pass from the Raiders 35 to the 45. That's a 20-yard pickup on third down.
Yeah, and Arredondo last week, Javi had a big touchdown reception right before the halftime to put the Raiders up 15-7. And Arredondo last year led the Raiders, into the playoffs, and as he took over for Aparicio, as we see Montes once again on that carry.
So Montes with a 5-yard pickup, and I think now we're starting to see what exactly you talked about, Jonathan. They tease them to the left. Hey, let's hit the left side. Let's hit the left side, and the Eagles were ready. Now they're stunting to the right. Little backdoor runs, and the Raiders are making some hay now. They're at the 40-yard line. This is our deepest penetration. We're at the 3-minute mark of the opening period. Of course, the Eagles up 7-0. So another give straight up the gut, testing the heart of the defense. Good push by that offensive line. Still moving forward. Finally getting down as a ball carrier at the 36-yard line. So good pickup of 4. Brings up a very manageable 3rd and 1 upcoming.
And who we haven't seen run the ball yet is Aparicio. He had 250 yards against Corpus Christi Miller, and so I expect maybe a little read option here that to possibly get him the first down or even a touchdown, Javi.
Well, right now it's been as even as it can get. 32 yards passing, 33 yards rushing, and the Raiders are going to pick up the first down, just bruising style football. And the Raiders are going to get up to the 27-yard line. Excuse me, the 32-yard line, 4-yard pickup, another first down. Of course, this drive for the Raiders started at their own 25-yard line. This upcoming will be their 9th play. They've already picked up 3 first downs. Time-consuming drive as well, as we're already approaching the 2-minute mark here in the opening period. The other thing you got to notice, Jonathan, there's about 8-9 guys in the box, and there you call it. Right on cue, Aparicio with a quarterback keeper. No one can seal the edge, and the Raiders pick up excellent yards. Maybe enough for a first down, maybe a yard or 2 shy of that. And there we see a little extracurricular activity as
that was Aiden Sanchez. He's a big bully.
He's bullying is allowed on the football field. He just pancaked somebody, and he wasn't too happy about it. And Sanchez is a beast. I tell you what, a great kid. I formation for the first time this evening on 2nd and short from the 24 after 8-yard pickup and a big time run. That's the one thing we haven't seen either, Jonathan. I think the Raiders are now starting to really implement their normal playbook. You're going to get more lead runners now. And we've even seen the quarterback Aparicio beat a lead back, helping out his running backs. So the Raiders going to finally get into the red zone for the first time this evening. 1st and 10 at the 15-yard line. We got about a minute and a half remaining here in the opening quarter. 7-0 Eagles, but the Raiders trying to score their first touchdown of the ball game, trying to answer the Eagles touchdown. Aparicio with a give. I believe that is Montes, and Montes is going to barrel forward, get a good push from that big offensive line. I think forward momentum is going to be stopped at the 11, so good 4-yard pickup. Montes right now definitely the workhorse. Montes on 9 carries, already 33 yards. The Raiders with 53 yards rushing, 32 yards passing, a total of 89 total offensive yards. The Eagles with 50, as we are in the final minute here of the first quarter. 50 seconds to be exact. 2nd down upcoming. 2nd and 6 for the Raiders. I formation. They're going to have some movement. It was a tight end moving. That'll be false start. That'll be I want to say that's the first penalty, Jonathan.
Yeah, that's the first penalty of the game. And let's go back to what we were talking about Aiden Sanchez.
Mhm.
I mean, I was talking to his dad, earlier in the week, and we are just laughing of how soft and how nice of a
Oh,
kid
he's a
Aiden is
sweetheart. Yes.
off the field. And you come see all these guys. You see Dante, you see Agustin, Jordan, Joe, Derek, Aiden, and they're soft guys. They're nice guys, but on the football field, I mean, they're mean, tough guys. And having 44 pancake blocks. I think Aiden had 10 last week, and it's a testament of to not to play till the whistle blows.
Yeah, it's an offensive line that averages 270 yards. And is that a fumble? No, they're going to say it's an incomplete pass as Aparicio gets harassed in the backfield. So 3rd and long upcoming from the 16, 3rd and 11 to be exact.
It's a smart decision right there by Aparicio, recognizing that he was going to get sacked. Just find someone to throw it at their feet. But I don't. I really think they should have ran the ball there on 2nd down. Even though you're 2nd and long, Javi, just go with what's working right now. You've ran the ball. You've pretty much ran the ball down their throat this drive.
Yeah. Maybe make it a bit more manageable. Let's see if they can do it here on 3rd down. Aparicio's a lot of running room. Can he escape? No, he will not. A spectacular open field tackle. I believe that was number 7 for the Eagles. My goodness, great job right there. Tomas Garcia with a great open field tackle and a very elusive Ale Aparicio tackling him down at the 14-yard line. A mere gain of 2 yards. So 4th down upcoming for the Raiders. I believe they're going to send out their field goal unit. And that'll do it, folks, as the first quarter here from Buccaneer Stadium, the regional finals. It is the Eagles 7, the Raiders 0.
Yeah, I mean, and that penalty, unfortunately, is what's gonna, push the Raiders into this field goal attempt. But hey, nonetheless, answering with any points is good because the Raiders smart, like we've seen them do the last 4 games. They've won the toss and they've declined and receiving the second half. So, they possessed the ball for 6 minutes already, and you look at, that's going to be for 8 minutes, and you look at Corpus Christi Veterans, they've had the ball for 3 minutes. So,
right.
Obviously it's a high-powered offense. We saw that first possession. They ran to the ball. And so PSJA North doing what PSJA North does, just take away the time, and they're going to have to play keep away if they want to win this game.
Well, time of possession is key for the Raiders offensive. And right now, they have 92 total yards, 50 to the Eagles. But the key was the Eagles forced the fumble, recovered at the Raiders 37. It took the Eagles just 5 plays, a big touchdown pass, and the Eagles took advantage of a turnover. The Raiders try to answer. The field goal will be wide to the right. So the Raiders drive the ball, but they come up empty.
Gonna have some penalty flags, Javi. I'm not sure if that was.
Well, we're gonna see what happens here
after the play, or
as of right now, it's a missed field goal attempt. And of course, the Raiders had a bit of trouble last week in the rain and the cold. They missed, I believe, 2 extra points.
Oh, wow. So not sure what happened there.
Yeah, I didn't see the penalty. So the infraction was by the Eagles, but of course it's not a first down. It's going to remain 4th down. I'm not sure. We couldn't quite hear what the officials said.
If my assumptions are correct, Javi, I think what happened was the Eagles ran onto the field celebrating while the play was still going on, and that's when those flags came out. I think maybe they discussed it, and I think that's what I heard, which is why they're giving them those 5 extra yards.
So 5 yards, that'll move the ball up to the 9-yard line, and that's going to put the Raider offense back on the field. So 4th and 4 from the 9. The intensity really amping up here, Buccaneer Stadium. Aparicio looks, fires, he's got a man open, and the reception is made, but the defender does a tremendous job of making the tackle. Well, but hold the phones.
I think he has enough for a first down there.
I think maybe the forward momentum, the reception was made at the 5-yard line. And if indeed it is, and it will be, the Raiders pick up a first down right at the 5-yard line. So Aparicio throws a dime, Catch is made. Fine job defensively, but not before the Raiders pick up the yard to gain right at the 5. First and goal for the Raiders, and this is going to be the Raiders' 15th play of this drive. Of course, it started at their own 25-yard lines. They've already picked up 5 first downs, and on first down, a big bruising run. No, it's a give, a fake to Montes, and Aparicio gets bottled up in the backfield. That's going to be another tackle for a loss.
Yeah, that's something that PSJA North is not used to, Javi. You know, they're not used to being bullied like that. Now they're the ones getting bullied, you know, in that front line is, you know, of course, you know, and at this level, Javi, you know, you've got to be good defensively. You got to be good defensively sound. And, you know, that's one thing I was talking to Coach Estrada, who by the way, Javi, has been at PSJA North for 21 years. He was part of that first class in 03 that went to the they went to 3 rounds deep, and they lose to San Antonio Connor. So there's one thing he said was that this is a very fundamentally sound defensive team.
They give to the running back from the I formation. Nets maybe a couple yards. They're going to spot him down at the 7-yard line. Pickup of 2, so 3rd and goal upcoming. The Raiders are 2 for 4 on 3rd down situations. Well, excuse me, no, they're 1 for 3, 1 for 4, but they picked up a first down on 4th down. So, and I'm sure this is 4-down territory for Coach Kaufman. 10 minutes remaining before the half. 7-0. Raiders trying to tie it up. Big bruising run met up by a brick wall. The Eagles defense, they are stout. They're big. They're strong. No yards on the play. 4th and goal from the 7. That was the 17th play of the drive for the Raiders.
Javi, and all I think they're doing is they're setting up for a pass. Don't be surprised to see Arredondo maybe on a quick little curl route to the outside, or just to get to the pylon, a little out route. I think that's all they're doing. I think they're just, you know, expecting maybe a read option here with a pass, or maybe an RPO. That's what I would do. You know, they're stuffing the inside. I'm running an RPO here and getting the ball to my best receiver out there.
Well, the Raiders, with 9:27 remaining here, the second quarter, are going to use their second timeout. Of course, the Raiders have 1 left. The Eagles still have 2. 9:27 remaining here in the regional finals from Corpus Christi Buccaneer Stadium. It's Corpus Christi Veterans Memorial. The Eagles 7, the PSJA North Raiders 0. You know, right now, Jonathan, I get what you're saying. They're testing that offensive line, but I tell you what, I think the difference this evening is, in all honesty, I don't think the Eagles are respecting the Raiders passing game. They've got about 9-10 players in the box. And I know you've always loved talking about numbers. So right now, the Eagles defense is outnumbering the Raiders offensive linemen, tight ends, and backs, blockers, and that's why they're making tremendous stops.
Yeah, you know, and you know, anytime it gets a run game, as we see here, I think they might actually be attempting a field goal, which, you know, as I mentioned earlier, you know, it's a good call. You know, you got to get the points, especially when they stuffed you like that. Hey, nonetheless, Javi, you had a 4th down that you missed a field goal, that you're converted into a to a 4th down, that you got a first down, and to get away with points here is big for North.
Diego Maldonado, and this time he will miss it again. So the Eagles, not once but twice, dodge a big bullet. And with 9:23 remaining before the half, the Eagles continue to lead 7-0. And, you know, Jonathan, as I always say, I'm undefeated in the booth. I've never lost a game in the booth. My only concern is we've seen, you know, Maldonado miss a couple extra points, a couple field goals now, and it's always from the left hash mark, and he hooks it left. I'm not sure why. If you're planning on kicking, why don't they just set it up to kick from the right hash mark? Of course, you know, it's just me being me.
Yeah.
But, you know, it is what it is. Missed field goal, missed opportunity. The Eagles are going to take over at their own 20-yard line with a 7-0 lead. A pass around the outside, little slant to Larry Moya. Good pickup. Good pass by Durrett. And Durrett, I tell you what, Durrett looks good. He has a good arm. He's already 4 for 5 in the ball game. Got a quick release, very accurate. Pick up a 5.
And I think that's all they like to do. Javi, they like to
Yeah,
get
little quick hitters.
those quick hitters
Mhm.
that just let their athletes get into space.
Durant with 51 yards passing. And this time the Eagles are going to keep it on the ground, very close to the first down. And I believe they're going to spot them down right at the 30-yard line. That will be a first down for the Eagles. That is going to be the Eagles, just their fourth first down of the ball game. Of course, the Eagles with only 55 total yards of offense. The Raiders with 97. But more importantly, the Eagles lead 7-0 with 8.5 minutes remaining in the second quarter.
Yeah, and as you mentioned, this is a very, it's a dual threat offense, Javi. The quarterback can run it. They have a good running back in Castañeda. He can air it out. And so the Raiders just got to continue to be fundamentally sound and just, defensively, you can't have any mishaps.
And of course, that was Larry Moya with the carry. And the one thing I am noticing is that the Eagles are spreading out the Raiders defense. They're not letting them get numbers inside the hash marks, and that's where they're running their little counters. And it's been working. 5-yard pickup from the 35, 2nd and 5.
Yeah, and the reason that it works, obviously, you see, that you've got 5 guys on the line, and you're only PSJA North is just really rushing 3, and probably it looks like they're dropping back. Well, we see Gonzalez here on the outside, a good block.
So direct to Rojas, and Rojas makes a reception, gets out of bounds, and then we're going to have a penalty. Probably a late hit on the Raiders. So we're going to see what happens here. Let's see if the reception is made and then tack on the 15 yards after that. So that's what it will be. The reception was made at the 39-yard line. So a pickup of 4 for a small gain, but then tack on 15 yards. That's going to push the ball past midfield at the Raiders' 44-yard line. So that's a big-time penalty against the Raiders there.
And you got to understand how in these situations you can't chance anything. He was already going down. There's no need to come rushing in and try to to lay an extra hit. These officials are just here to call a game. They don't know who you are. As we see here, a big tackle for loss. That's going to be Marcus Hernandez, or excuse me, that's going to be Danny Garcia.
Danny Garcia with the tackle in the backfield. Great job of recovering there after giving up 15 yards on the penalty. That's going to push the ball back to the 50-yard line. Loss of 4 on the play. So now each defense has 2 tackles for a loss. 2nd and long, upcoming, 2nd and 14 to be exact, with 7 minutes remaining here in the second quarter. Right, we had a flinch by the center, and that'll be a penalty, and I believe that is going to be the first penalty against the Eagles this evening. So that'll push the ball back to the Eagles' 45-yard line. Of course, only 5 yards of penalties for the Eagles, 20 for the Raiders. But both penalties have been big for the Raiders. That's been the difference.
Yeah, that's been the big difference, Javi. And luckily for PSJA North here, you back them up into a 2nd and 19 as we see. I think we're going to have another false start.
Mm-hmm. And that was caused by number 12 for the Raiders. Jesse Montes was coming on a blitz from the right side. And I think that made a lineman flinch. That's going to back it up another 5 yards. So the Eagles are going nowhere quickly. They're going to have the ball now at their own 40-yard line. The first down marker sits all the way at the Raiders' 36-yard line. 2nd and 24 upcoming with 6:44 remaining before the half. What a game, Jonathan. This is high school football. This is South Texas football. This is beautiful. Regional finals. Of course, the winner of this game will be the Region 4 champs, and they will face College Station in the state semifinals. The pass, and is it made? The reception? No, I believe at the end it is dropped by the receiver. That would have been a tremendous reception. The intended receiver was number 17, Alejandro Guerrero, not able to come up with the reception, though. So 3rd and long, upcoming.
Yeah, this is a big play right here. Big possession, defensive possession for PSJA North, Javi, because if you get a 4th down stop, you really put Corpus Christi into really uncomfortable position. Of course, it's going to be a 4th and long, if anything, and you force them to make a decision. Do you want to punt? Do you want to to go for it and give up possible good field positioning. So PSJ North just needs to have a great stop right here.
Durrett looking, fires. He's going to go over the top. He's got a man open and then finally bottled up. So the intended receiver, Guerrero, again, much better coverage this time by the Raiders secondary. So the Raiders, they bend a little. A couple penalties of false starts really hampered the drive for the Eagles. So it's going to be 4th and 24.
Yeah, great job right there by Matamoros defensively. He switched. I believe he was number 84, and
he switched to 0,
now he's 0, and so it kind of throws us off. Great job right there by the Raiders defensively, and expect them, Javi, to go and take every 6 minutes off this clock. As you mentioned, they like to go for those 2-for-1, so expect that here from North as we see a really botched punt. Now he came off the end of the foot.
It was a high booming punt, but let's see where they mark it. The official starts, well, they're going to say right at the 40-yard line. I thought he was going to push it back closer to midfield, but instead it'll be right at the 40-yard line. The Raiders are going to have excellent field position. They're at their 40, 6:02 remaining in the second quarter. The Raiders have 1 timeout. The Eagles have 2, and of course the Eagles lead 7-0. And as you mentioned, what we call the 2-for-1 special is, the Raiders have the ball right now. If they can get a time-consuming drive, get in the end zone, get momentum on their side, and to start the second half, the Raiders will receive. But a lot of work has to be done. The Raiders have to traverse 60 yards here. It's an end around, cutting it upfield.
It's going to be the freshman. It's going to be
is that Guerra with the
Guerra.
Yes, that was Guerra. I believe that's the first time he carries the ball this evening. Ethan Guerra, the second time. Well, his first time, right? 8 yards on his first carry. So it'll be 2nd and 8 upcoming. Just a 2-yard pickup. Guerra, 2 carries, 10 yards. The workhorse, Jason Montes, 12 carries, 39 yards, 62 yards rushing. Aparicio throws a bullet. It's a reception is made about a yard shy of midfield. They're going to say it's down at the 49-yard line. I believe that was Arredondo with the reception at the 49. So a good 7-yard pickup. 3rd and 1 upcoming. Of course, the Raiders are only 1 for 4 on 3rd down situations.
This is a big play right here, Javi. You don't get the first down, and you give the ball right back to Corpus Christi Veterans, who has big play potential. And so you got to make sure you secure the first down. As we see, it's going to be Montes on that carry.
Great job by that offensive line, really pushing the defense backwards, winning the line of scrimmage with that offensive line that time. And Montes does get enough for a first down to the Eagles' 47-yard line. Gain of 3. First down for the Raiders, and we have 4.5 minutes remaining here in the second quarter. Raiders trying to even it all up. We've got a lot of movement, and I think that was more on the center because I think Montes' move, Aparicio was expecting the snap, but instead it'll be a false start. 5 yards. Are the Raiders going to get pushed back? And that'll be the 3rd penalty on the Raiders this evening for 25 yards.
Yeah, and that's just something you can't do, especially after getting that first down, because you really kill your own momentum. Javi, so PSJ North, this needs to be a little bit more fundamentally sound, and it could just be the fact that, hey, Javi, these guys are nervous. They're playing for something big. They're playing for, they're trying to make Valley history, and so, just got to calm down a little bit and just continue doing what you've done all season long.
It's a give. Montes eludes a player, hurdles one, and then just bullies his way down the sideline, refusing to go down. Let's see where they're going to mark it. Jason Montes showing his supreme power. That is why Jason Montes was District 15 5A rushing champion, and Montes gets the Raiders all the way down to the Eagles' 23-yard line.
It's a big 25-yard gain right by Montes. Montes showing his athleticism, and unfortunately we don't have replay, but we got to see it live and just hurting his defender. And this Charger defense, just does a great job tackling. But Montes right there able to avoid the tackle and get those extra, big chunk yards.
Aparicio looking to pass, fires, throws. He's got a man open. Is a reception made? They say he will be. Tackled in bounds before momentum stopped in bounds at the 15-yard line. So big time pass right there by Aparicio for 8 yards.
That was Marcus Rendon on that reception.
And that's good to see Marcus Rendon in the ball game, as he took a wallop last week.
Yeah, he sure did. And going back that previous reception, I believe that was Willingham who had what I called, the reason that PSJA was able to go down is he had that amazing sideline catch that set PSJA North up with first down.
Aparicio on a quarterback keeper, that offensive line chugging forward. And let's see where Aparicio gets down to. They're going to say he maneuvers his way all the way down to the 9-yard line, inside the 10 at the 9. That should be more than enough for a first down. So it'll be the second time this evening that the Raiders have first and goal. The first time the Raiders came up empty. They missed a field goal. Aparicio looks, fires, throws, and the reception is made. Does he get in? Does that second effort? And yes, it is. The Raiders finally get into the end zone for the first time with 2:53 remaining in the first half. Tremendous second effort right there by the Raiders. I believe he was going to be a yard shy, and instead the Raiders are in the end zone. Ball game now 7-6 with the extra point pending. And was that Rendon again?
That was Rendon again, Javi. And crazy is that Rendon, coming into this game had only 19 receptions. You add 4 from, or excuse me, you take away 4 from last week. He only had 15 receptions on the season. So what a big touchdown for that young man, as we see the extra point here for the Raiders.
And that'll be good. So with 2:53 remaining in the second quarter, what a barn burner of a game we have here at Buccaneers Stadium. The Raiders 7, the Eagles 7. Both teams are fighting for a trip to the state semifinals, trying to win a Region 4 championship. And Jonathan, I mean, it can't get any better than this. I tell you what, this is a tremendous football game, a beautiful evening, capacity crowd, great environment, great atmosphere.
I mean, I can't remember when the last time I saw 2 bands sitting on the sidelines, or excuse me, sitting at the end zones.
Yes.
And so, yeah, and again, we just want to thank everybody, for coming out, for the support.
Yeah, Jonathan, and that's the thing. The Valley came in droves, and we saw it on social media, we saw it in the newspaper, we saw it in the news. The Valley is supporting the Raiders. It's not often that a Valley team advances to the regional finals. I believe Mission Veterans was the last team to do it, and they fell short. And the kickoff and a elusive running right there, and still on his feet is a return man, and we got a penalty. Bottled up finally. Corralled at the 40 is Christian Sapsuk. And we're right now officially it's at the 40, but we're going to see what the penalty is. This one may be coming back. And again, not too many penalties. 2 well-coached football teams. Okay, so it'll be a spot foul, I believe, at the 32. So they're going to move it back to the 22-yard line after a tremendous return by Sepsuk. And the Eagles are going to set up shop at their own 24-yard line. Of course, they've got 2 timeouts remaining, 2 minutes and 39 seconds to work with. Game all knotted up at 7. Eagles trying to take the lead before the half. Let's see if the Raiders' black shirt defense can prevent that. First down give is up the middle. Good run by the Eagles. Past the 25, up to the 27. 3-yard pickup.
Yeah, that was Moya once again. We haven't seen a lot of Castañeda.
No.
Who is their workhorse. He came in, after a big performance last week against Magpie. So we're expecting to see him get a workload. But it's been all Moya tonight for the Eagles.
Yeah, I think Castañeda came off the field gingerly after his second carry. We're not going to speculate on that at all. The Eagles throw it out. Big completion. That's going to be more than enough for a first down. So soft coverage by the Raiders defensively enables the reception to be made. The Eagles get 13 yards and a first down. That'll stop the clock at 1:58. And of course, the Raiders have one timeout. The Eagles with two. And of course, here in high school football, the clock momentarily stops in order for the chain gang to set up the first down marker. Durrett keeps it. Great open field tackle. I thought he was going to get past that defender, and I think that was Montes with the tackle there. Great job right there, getting the quarterback down. But still, the Eagles pick up about 2 to 3 yards. It'll be 2nd and 7 upcoming from their own 43-yard line. Now, the clock is the issue now. 1:35 remaining here in the second quarter. And at some point, you got to realize the Eagles have two timeouts. They got to use them. The Raiders have one in their back pocket if, in fact, they want to use one defensively to regroup.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like if there's any sense of urgency from the Eagles to try to march down. It might just be that they're just trying to play keep away from the Raiders, or, they're just trying to air one over the top.
And I think that's what Durrett's going to do here. He's going to go underneath, though, checks it down. Wide open receiver in the flat. Good run after the reception. And, of course, that was number 13, Luke Moya. So Luke Moya's been busy. He's been running the ball well. He's been catching the ball. Good run after the reception all the way down to the 39-yard line of the Raiders. That's the second first down on this drive. 2 for 2 is Durrett. Durrett already with over 70 yards passing in the ball game. And finally, do we have the clock stops at 1:03. 3 down linemen for the Raiders countering this offensive aerial attack by Durrett. Durrett looking deep, can't find anybody. Flushed out of the pocket. Durrett sits, fires, looks. He has a man open. Tremendous patience by Durrett. Throws a strike to his receiver, who makes a reception, gets tackled down at the 27-yard line. So a 12-yard pickup. So the Eagles with 48 seconds at the Raiders 27. They're going to keep it on the ground this time. A good run by the Eagles up to the 20-yard line. So the Eagles moving the ball in chunks now. I believe that was Luke Moya with the carry up to the 20. 2nd and 3 upcoming. 30 seconds remaining. Durrett looking, flushed out. Chase going to throw it away, and almost an interception. Great pressure right there by the Raiders, and I believe that was Mikey Gonzalez chasing down Durrett, forcing an incompletion.
Mikey Gonzalez, he's a big guy, Javi. 208, stands at 6'1", and so, great job right there by him to force Durrett, out of that pocket into that very uncomfortable situation.
It'll be 3rd and 3. The Eagles are 1 for 3 on third down situations. And I'm surprised they haven't called up timeout. There's 22 seconds. I would say this is the time to do it. But instead, they're going to leave the offense on the field. 3rd and 3. It's a give. Can the Raiders stop it? No, the Eagles are going to get more than enough for a first down, barely forward, past the 15, up to the 14. And finally, I think Coach Bittner finally heard me and said, I better call timeout because there's only 15 seconds remaining in the first half. So the Eagles call their second timeout. They got one timeout left. So do the Raiders. The Eagles have the ball 1st and 10 at the Raiders' 14-yard line. So with one timeout, Jonathan, I think you get 2 pass attempts. You can even run the ball once, but I think you want to save that last time out in order to get your field goal unit out there.
Yeah, I think what I expect the Eagles to do here, Javi, I expect them to hit that little out route, especially when you have that running back coming out, and just hit him, get a couple of yards, get as close as you can to the touchdown, and and hope that maybe he can break one. But I expect them to do that. I maybe expect them to take one shot at the end zone. But if I'm the Eagles, Javi, I'm just hoping to come away with 3 points here. Because, hey, Javi, and you flip it around, you throw the ball to the end zone, PSJA North intercepts it. You just went down and took off 2 minutes off the clock and didn't come away with any points. And PSJA North gets the ball to start the second half.
And, of course, there's 15 seconds remaining here before the half. High drama at Buccaneer Stadium, regional finals. Raiders, Eagles, 7-7 tie. Coming out of a timeout, each team with one timeout left. Durrett, the quarterback, looks, finally flushed out of the pocket, heavy pressure. Durrett's got a lot of running room, flips it into the end zone for a touchdown, Eagles. So the Eagles strike with 7 seconds remaining before the half. A tremendous pass by Durrett, finding his receiver in the end zone, and the Eagles take a 13-7 lead pending the extra point. Again, just a fine pass by Durrett, threading the needle right there.
Yeah, that was all Durrett right there, Javi. And credit to the receivers also.
Mhm.
Just you get into that situation, you just kind of move around and get into an open space to find to allow your quarterback to find you.
And the extra point will be successful. So with 7 seconds remaining before the half, it is now the Eagles 14, the Raiders 7. And I'm not sure who made that touchdown reception, Jonathan. I didn't
I
see
believe
it.
that was Wilson. That's what
Okay.
I saw with that reception.
That was a 14-yard touchdown pass to Wilson. Yes, I do believe it. You're correct. It was number 6 with the reception. So the Eagles, with 2 touchdowns in the first half, have regained the lead 14-7. The Raiders going to have 7 seconds to work with. And of course, the Raiders have the luxury that they will receive the opening kickoff in the third quarter.
Yeah, and don't you're going to see your adjustments right here. Coach Esparza and his staff does a good job of making those adjustments in the second half as we see them done before. How we usually see them kind of a chess match, the first 2 quarters with every team. Whether it was Miller or even Brownsville veterans, and so I expect them to come do that, and I expect a different defensive look for the Raiders, and I expect them to put a little bit more pressure on the quarterback.
Raiders receiving with 7 seconds. The ball's going to be booted into the end zone for a touchback. So the Raiders are going to have the ball at their own 25-yard line. 1 timeout, only 7 seconds remaining before the half. So I'm thinking the Raiders here are simply going to maybe run a running play, get the most they can. Something safe.
Yeah, I don't even think you do that. I think you just kneel the ball and go into the half.
Going to be give up the middle to Guerra. Guerra's going to get good yardage, about 6 yards on that play, up to the 31-yard line. So 6-yard gain by Guerra. The clock expires. So after 2 quarters of play, we're going to head into the half with the Eagles leading the Raiders 14-7. We'll be back in 28 minutes. So sit back and relax. Enjoy the halftime entertainment.
Ladies and gentlemen, help me welcome onto the field the PSJA North Early College High School's 31-time national champion dance team, the PSJA North Raiderettes. up on the field is your second captain, Marissa Allen. Major Alina Massey. Lieutenant Sofia Salazar. Lieutenant Meadow Villarreal. First captain Diana Ruiz. This week's Raider of the Week is Janice Oliva. The Raider Sports Director is Joey Aguilar and Vanessa Martinez. Take it away, Raiderettes.
Big t-shirt, really. Turning on once Billie Eilish into the top.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the true pride of the Tri-City District, your PSJ North Raider Band. The Raider Band is a good legend of brothers Sabrina Martinez and head drummer Isabel Espinosa. This year has been a very successful season for the Raider Band as they earned their 17th consecutive sweepstakes trophy at Pigskin. The Raider Band placed first in the City of Long Marching Contest and advanced to the finals of the UIL Area Marching Contest for the 6th time in the school district. For tonight's halftime entertainment, the Raider Band will be playing a medley of Christmas tunes. We hope you enjoy. Ladies and gentlemen, put your nachos down and your hands together for the PSJ North Raider Band. Raider fans, please turn your attention to the back sideline as our Raider Band seniors are making the 2-3 class of 23 representing on the field. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Veterans Memorial High School is proud to present to your athletic team the fabulous, beautiful Starlight Dance team. Captain Emma Lopez. Captain Angelina Garcia. Captain Haley Solis. Colonel Pauline Castells. Gordon Cruz. Mary Ivy. Madison Michelle. Star of the week. Ashley Butler. Spirit Girl of the week. Diamond Taylor. Starline is under the direction of Director Victoria Barr. And now, for your entertainment, Starline will perform a traditional kick beats for the team in the area. One more round of applause for the beautiful Starline dance team. Now, for your upcoming king. The Veterans Memorial High School is proud to present the pride of the South Side, the toast of the Texas Gulf Coast, the reason we're getting excited about football season. The Veterans Memorial High School Screaming Eagle Band. The Screaming Eagle Band is under the direction of senior drum major Natalie Wilkins, junior drum major Lizette Bissell. This evening, the band in charge will perform
We'd like to take this opportunity because we just got welcoming all of the administration, faculty, staff, and everybody from Royal High School, everyone in the Cincinnati community for their continued support. We hope everyone is having a wonderful time. Please continue to enjoy this awesome game by these two fantastic football teams.
Welcome back, folks, to Buccaneer Stadium here in Corpus Christi. Of course, we are at the regional finals. The hosting the Corpus Christi Veterans Memorial Eagles 14, PSJA North Raiders 7. Jonathan, it was a heck of a first half. I think it could have gone either way. Stat-wise, the Raiders have the advantage, 163 total yards to 142 to the Eagles. But more importantly, what stands out is that the Eagles lead on the scoreboard, 14-7.
Yeah, both teams had 10 first downs in that first half. Javi, PSJ North with 101 yards rushing, 62 in the air. You look at the Eagles; they had 112 passing yards and 30 rushing yards. So,
Right.
and we were talking about it during the break. PSJ North hasn't really seen a passing attack all season long. Maybe for the exception of Corpus Christi Miller, but again, as we've talked about, the Eagles, are they're a dual threat. They're going to run the ball, they're going to throw the ball, and we think maybe that PSJA North needs to send an additional pass rusher because
Right.
they're only rushing 3 at the time, and even then you can tell how good this offensive line for the veterans are for the Eagles are. They're doing a good job of maintaining those 3 tough rushers from PSJA North.
Yeah, and the other thing to take into account is Elijah Durrett. He's an outstanding quarterback, and no disrespect to any of the other quarterbacks that the Raiders have faced all year long, but I think Durrett is superior to any quarterback that the Raiders have faced all year long. He's been very patient in the pocket. Even when he gets flushed out of the pocket, he has the whereabouts to find an open receiver. He has a great arm, and the receivers that made the reception, that's been the difference. A couple penalties here and there kind of hurt each team, but we're set to get underway. Of course, we got 24 minutes of football left to see who is going to represent Region 4 at the state semifinals against College Station. The Raiders received the second half kickoff, and not much doing on the kickoff return as the Raiders are going to start at their own 19-yard line. So Ale Aparicio will lead the Raiders here in the second half as they trail by 7. Aparicio's done well. He's thrown for 62 yards. Very efficient. 6 for 7 passing for 62 yards. He's added in 19 yards rushing. Of course, the leading ball carrier is Jason Montes with 72 yards rushing for the Raiders. So on first down, shotgun, Aparicio's going to keep it, and the Eagle defense is going to swarm at Aparicio right at the line of scrimmage. So no yards on first down on the official first play from scrimmage to start the second half.
Yeah, and Aparicio took a very hard hit right there on that first carry for the start of the third quarter. And I don't know what PSJA North has to do, Javi. They've done well, running the ball on the inside, and it's allowed them to open up the passing game. And I think that they're going to have to open up the passing game a little bit more to keep that defense for the Eagles a little bit honest.
So on second down, a counter play, and again, the Eagles defense does a job, maybe a yard, not much more than that. Up to the 20-yard line are the Raiders. And the other thing that you've got to notice, if you're watching it at home, if you're listening to us here while you're at the stadium, the Eagles have all 11 players within the 10-yard marker. They're just bunching it up. The offensive line, they're not doing a bad job. They're playing well, but they're just getting outnumbered. The Eagles are just outnumbering. They're swarming to the ball, making sure tackles. Aparicio on third down, passes, throws, fires, and a tremendous effort by the Eagles defensively. It looked like Julius Arredondo was about to make the grab for the first down. Instead, it's an incomplete pass. So the Raiders go quietly on their first possession of the second half. It'll be the punt unit coming onto the field.
Yeah, that's a great job right there by number 17, Alejandro Guerrero, who does double duty. He plays receiver and defensive back. And again, Javi, this is a senior ball club. If you really look at the roster, for PSJA North, they have a bunch of juniors, and so this Eagles team has experience at this level, and it could be one of those things where it's your first time playing in a big stage like this, and you're a bit nerve-wracking, and you just don't know what to expect. There's a big crowd, basically. If you're not at the McAllen Parade, you're here watching PSJA North, and so I think the Raiders just got to settle down here defensively and not give up big passing yards.
Well, it's as you say, Jonathan. Great Valley support, so it's not just PSJA fans that are here. It's throughout the entire Valley, and I guarantee you, here for Corpus Christi, for the Eagles, it's not just the local fans from Corpus Christi. It's the whole Coastal Bend area that's here to support their Eagles. So a lot at stake. We've got 2 quarters to go. Right now, the Eagles with the advantage. The Eagles just forced the Raiders into a 3-and-out, so the Eagles will have the ball for the first time here in the third quarter from their own 29-yard line. Durrett with a toss. Big running room, and the Eagles are off to the races. And finally getting tackled, but not before crossing midfield. And getting all the way down field is Luke Moya. Moya all the way up to the 35-yard line. Big time first down. Big time run right there by the Eagles.
That's a big run right there by Moya, who, I mean, had great blocking on the outside. I'm not sure what number that was, but he did a great job blocking on the outside for the Eagles.
That was a 36-yard jolt right there on first down, and quickly I believe a timeout was called. Or was it an injury timeout? Not sure. There's a pause in the action. 1st and 10 upcoming for the Eagles from the Raiders' 35-yard line. We've got 2 minutes already have expired here in the third quarter, so 10 minutes remaining in the third quarter. Durrett with a handoff to Moya. Moya again with a gaping hole at the heart of the defense. And Moya's going to get himself down to the 26-yard line. Gain of 9. So 2nd and 1. So right now the offensive front for the Eagles really doing the job.
Yeah, that's a great job right there by Moya, making himself skinny. Javi, he's trying to pop that outside, and he saw that the hole open on the inside because I believe that was Marcus Hernandez on the outside ready to tackle him down. And so a great job making himself skinny, finding that hole and giving himself 9 yards.
2nd and 1. That opens up the playbook for the Eagles. See what Durrett decides to do. He's going to keep it. Rolling out. Still rolling. Looking. Firing. Fires into the end zone. And that may be intercepted. And it will. The Raiders come up with a huge defensive gem. Just when you thought the Eagles were going to take a 2-touchdown lead, the Raiders come back. The black shirt defense with a tremendous interception.
It's going to be Steven Garza on the interception.
So Steven Garza with a big-time interception for the Raiders. That puts a halt to the Eagles' drive. So the Raiders going to have the ball at their own. I believe it's going to be the 15-yard line officially. Yes, it will be the 15. So that'll be the first turnover forced by the black shirt defense. So each team now has a turnover.
Yeah, that's a big-time interception. Steven Garza with his first interception of the season really stopped the momentum of the Eagles because they were ready to march down the field and put 7 more on the board.
Well, let's see if the Raiders can capitalize offensively. And on first down, it is a bruising run by Jason Montes. That offensive line, while the point of attack there at the line of scrimmage, Jason Montes rumbles forward up to the 29-yard line. 14-yard gain, big-time run by Montes. Montes now has 86 yards rushing in the ball game. And of course, the Raiders are over the century mark offensively on the ground, and the Raiders are going to pick up about 6 more yards on first down. We have 8.5 minutes remaining here in the third quarter.
That was Fuentes on that carry there.
So Fuentes getting some action for the first time this evening. 2nd and 4 upcoming after Fuentes' 6-yard pickup up to the Raiders' 35-yard line. Of course, it's the Raiders' second possession of the second half. First time they had the ball, they went 3 and out. Bunch formation for the Raiders. Full backfield. A toss. Finding a seam, not much doing there. Maybe a couple yards. That's going to make it a very manageable third down upcoming for the Raiders. It'll be 3rd and 2.
I think that was Guerra on that carry. It's kind of hard to see with those different numbers.
It'll be 3rd and 2 from the 37. Of course, the Raiders. That's been the other thing about the Raiders this evening. The Raiders are only 1 for 5 on third down situations. So let's see if they can make it 2 for 6 here. And I believe the Raiders will. Busting forward is Montes, Jason Montes, Gives the Raiders a first down. Big time run there. Bruising run by Montes. Up to the 41. Gain of 4 when he needed 2.
I mean, this situation is, you just got to buckle yourself down and play hard. You're gonna have to really try to get as many yards as you can. It's a very stingy defense.
It's a bruising defense as the ball carrier got met hard at the 44-yard line. Pickup of 3 still for the Raiders offensively. They're keeping it on the ground. They're moving the ball, eating up the clock. We're just under 7 minutes to go here in the third quarter. Eagles, of course, with a 14-7 lead. They were up 7. The Raiders tied it at 7, and right before the half, the Eagles with a tremendous drive to take a 14-7 lead. And, of course, the Raiders missed the field goal, and we've got some movement on that offensive line, and I believe that is going to be the third false start against the Raiders this evening.
Yeah, it could be. They might have probably be coming to that right side, and believe that was Arredondo might just be a little bit, just over anxious, knowing that he had to get off the ball quick. I tell you what, number 55, Joshua Freire for the Eagles has really had himself a good night, putting a lot of pressure in the backfield.
So second down. And we're going to have another penalty before we do. So it's going to be another 5-yard infraction against the Raiders. That's going to push them back a bit further. So the Raiders are going to move now from the 39 to the 34-yard line.
Yeah, that's really unfortunate, Javi, because PSJA North had a lot of momentum, and we saw it on that first drive. Or I believe it was the second drive, where they had all the momentum, and then a false start just kind of killed the momentum, and that's where they missed that field goal.
Correct. So it'll be 2nd and 17 upcoming. Aparicio looks to pass, fires. He's got a man open. No, he does not. That is going to be an interception. I think Aparicio just underthrew that. I thought perhaps the receiver had a step, but a much finer play by the Eagles, and the Eagles return the favor of getting an interception of their own.
Yeah, again, it's unfortunate that's pretty much caused by those false start penalties, and but again, no reason to panic right now, Javi. There's 5 minutes left in this quarter. You still got another whole quarter to play. You just got to play better defensively.
Yeah, there's plenty of time. There's 5:41 remaining here in the third quarter. You still got 12 minutes in the fourth quarter, so plenty of game. This is long from over. The Eagles right now up 14-7. Raiders had got an interception, and the Eagles get an interception of their own, and a big bruising run. That was number 12. Lowering his shoulders there. Big time run for the Eagles. About 9 yards. No, excuse me. That was number 13 with the carry, and they're going to give it to him once again. My apologies. That was Luke Moya on back-to-back carries, and Luke Moya will get just enough for a first down. So the Raiders will have a new set of downs at the Raiders' 42-yard line. So this is the second time here in the second half that the Eagles are in the Raider side of the football field. They came up empty as the Raiders got an interception in the end zone. Empty backfield for Elijah Duret. Duret, quick toss. That's caught on the far sideline, and fighting forward is that a turnover?
I actually think they might have stripped the ball from him.
We're going to see. No indication, but perhaps they said the receiver was down. They're talking about it. This is a big call right here, or a big no call for that matter. Is it a first down for the Eagles, or do the Raiders have the ball? And there you go, folks. The fans jump for joy on the Raiders side, and the Raiders come up with their second turnover of the half. The completion was made. I believe that was going to be an Eagle first down. Then somehow the black shirt defense stripped the ball away from the receiver. They recover it, and the Raiders are going to have the ball now at their own 31-yard line.
Yeah, that's a great defensive play right there, Javi. And I tell you what, the fans started booing a little bit, but as soon as they saw that referee point his finger over to be PSJ North ball, that side erupted, and this just might be what PSJ North needed, Javi, to get the rhythm back.
Well, the Raiders have 4 minutes and 35 seconds to work with here in the third quarter. This will be the third possession for the Raiders here in the second half. They've managed to get a couple first downs. It's a give up the middle. Trying to find a running lane. Is a Raiders running attack up to the 34. Gain of 3. 2nd and 7 upcoming. Right now, the stats are about as even as it can get. The Eagles leading that category, 197 total yards for the Eagles, 195 for the Raiders.
Tell you what, we've caught some games, but this is a very, very good game.
Fighting forward. Up to the 40-yard line. Go the Raiders. Tough hard-nosed running right there for 6 hard-earned yards, and the Raiders going to be a yard shy of the first down, so 3rd and 1 upcoming with 3:40 remaining here in the third quarter. Of course, the Raiders are now 2 for 6 on third down opportunities. 1 for 2 here in the second half. Quarterback keeper. And Aparicio will have more than enough for a first down. He needed a yard, picked up a couple more. Up to the 43-yard line. A good run there by Aparicio. Good push by that offensive front. The chains will move forward. Raiders with a new set of downs. We're at the 3-minute mark of the third quarter. We're at Buccaneer Stadium in Corpus Christi. Regional Finals. Big time run and off to the races. Can he pick up a block? He gets a shrug and then barreling forward. Just destroying defensive backs is Jason Montes. I tell you what, that is a big time run by a big time football player. The Raiders cross midfield. They're at the Eagles' 33-yard line.
Yeah, that's something we've seen Montes do all season long, Javi. He's not scared of contact. He's not going to shy away from it, and he's going to deliver a hit every opportunity he gets.
That was a big 17-yard run.
That puts Montes over the 100-yard mark.
Montes with 116 yards rushing on 19 carries. The Raiders with 159 total yards on the ground. Guerra, the freshman, showing his leg strength. Right there. Mustard.
Yeah, Guerra coming into this game had 127 carries for 1,059 yards and 12 touchdowns. He had 130 on 21 carries last week, and him and Fuentes carried the workload last week against the Chargers. But I tell you what, we've seen a couple of times where for Guerra that ball kind of bobbles out of his hands, and I think he needs to secure the ball a little bit better because a turnover here, Javi, could cause to be, it could be trouble for the Raiders.
The Raiders are going to pick up another first down to the Eagles' 18-yard line. Excuse me, the 23-yard line. Gain of 3. That's the third first down for the Raiders. After forcing a turnover, Raiders drive started at their own 31-yard line. We're at 1:20 remaining here in the third quarter. Raiders trying to get a touchdown. Eagles trying to preserve their 14-7 lead. It's a toss. And the Raiders are going to move forward, moving the pile up to the 16-yard line. High toss, gathered well by the running back, up to the 16, gain of 7, 2nd and 3 upcoming. We're right at the 1 minute mark of the third quarter.
Yeah, I think what happened was is they noticed that Lewis, number 22 from, I believe that was Lewis. Yes, Josiah Lewis was not in on those last two carries. So, they were attacking that side. And Lewis himself, he's a big guy. He's putting a lot of pressure. And, PSJA North doing a good job on that toss of that to that left side of the field. And just a great job by those lead blockers, by Montes and Fuentes, allowing Guerra to get out and get as many yards as he's getting.
Well, the running game of the Raiders is working right now extremely well, and that forces the Eagles to call their first timeout of the second half. So with 40 seconds remaining in the third quarter from Buccaneer Stadium Regional Finals, it is the Eagles 14, the Raiders 7. Well, I think that's a good timeout right there by Bittner. In all essence, Jonathan, we're getting down. We got 40 seconds left in the third quarter, and then 12 minutes after that in the fourth. I think possessions now are at a premium. I think every time you have a ball, you've got to score. You got to score if you want to advance to the state semifinals. And I think that's why the coach from the Eagles called a timeout, saying, gentlemen, we need to stop, because if they score, then we better score. And in all honesty, I see maybe each team having throughout the rest of this game, after this Raider possession, maybe 2 to 3 possessions each, not much more than that.
Yeah, and it's crazy how the Corpus Christi Veterans has been around for 7 years, and this is their sixth consecutive year in the
That's
playoffs.
crazy, right?
And all 6 years they've gone to the third round.
Yeah, they're a solid team. You could tell. Great athletes, and a great timeout by Bittner. Fires up the defense. Whatever adjustment they made, it worked. Third down upcoming. Stop right at the line of scrimmage, so it's going to be 3rd and 3.
It's a big third down, and I expect PSJA North to maybe not run a play here, maybe allow their offense to get a little breather, and maybe have an opportunity for Coach Kaufman to really, really dial up that third down play.
Well, there's 5 seconds on the game clock. They will get it off at 3. Montes trying to get around the edge, and he will. And Montes gets a big-time first down for the Raiders as the third period clock expires. The Raiders are going to have the ball first and goal from the 10, I believe, as we're going to head into the fourth quarter. And, of course, right now, Corpus Christi Veterans Memorial 14, PSJA North 7. We've got 12 minutes of fine football left, and that's going to decide who's going to be your Region 4 champions. Will it be the Eagles? Will it be the Raiders? And I believe they're going to mark them down at the 11-yard line. If I'm looking at the scoreboard, I can't tell if that's a 10. Well, I think it's a 10 now. So it'll be first and goal from the 10 to start the fourth quarter for the Raiders. Right now, the Raiders with 241 total yards of offense. The Eagles with 197. Each team forcing a couple turnovers. The difference right now, if you can't say, is that the Raiders missed an extra point. Missed the field goal.
Yeah, actually, they missed 2 field goals, back-to-back field goals. But I tell you what, Javi, it's actually first and 10 with the ball on the 11-yard line. So PSJA North does have the opportunity to gain a first down, which I think is probably key here. You got to try to get to that first down marker and give yourself, another 4 downs from that 1-yard line.
So on first and goal from the 10. Oh no, I was correct the first time. It's from the 11. So it'll be first and 10 from the 11. They pick up 2 yards. So it'll be a yard. They get up to the 8. So second down upcoming. Getting confused here. The action is on the other side of the field right now. We're sitting by the scoreboard at about the 30-yard line. So, of course, the action is happening on the far end zone. Aparicio under center. Guerra trying to find a hole he can slither through, and Guerra's going to get to the 5-yard line. Pick up of a couple. Up to the 5. 3rd and goal upcoming.
Give him credit for 4 yards on that carry.
Raiders with a lot more success here on 3rd down conversions. They are 3 for 4 in the second half. They were only 1 for 4 in the first half, and that's been the difference. The drive continues. We are already at the 10:45-minute mark of the 4th quarter. I formation. Raiders can pick up a first down before getting into the end zone. Montes tries to slip a tackle in the backfield. He will not. He will only get back to the line of scrimmage at the 5. 4th down coming up. 4th and 5.
And you're pure PSJA North, Javi, you're keeping your offense on the field only because you've already had 2 missed extra points from about this distance. And so you're going to put the ball in the hands of maybe Montes or maybe even Aparicio on a little read option, as we've seen him be successful. But that defense right now is really doing a good job. As you see here, Aparicio out to pass.
Aparicio looks, throws, and that's going to go through the receiver's hands. The Raiders are asking for interference. They are not going to get it. The Eagles, once again, they bend. They do not break. The Raiders gambled. They came up empty. A tremendous drive of 13 plays comes up empty. 4th and 4 fails for the Raiders. And the Eagles will take over at their own 5-yard line.
Yeah, I think maybe they got away with a little holding right there. It looked like maybe he had gotten a hold of his arm, but nonetheless, the officials on the field didn't make the call. And that's what happens when you get stopped on 2nd and 3rd down. You're forced to make a decision that you really don't want to make.
And on 1st down, the Raiders defense come up with a defensive jam, tackle in the backfield, loss of 2, pushing the Eagles back into the shadow of their own end zone at the 3-yard line. And, of course, we have 9 minutes and 35 seconds remaining with the Eagles leading 14-7. This is where the defense for the Raiders really has to come up big. They need a defensive stop. If they can get it, force a 3 and out, the Raiders should have the ball around midfield with plenty of time. Quarterback Durrett from his own end zone, and that is caught, and the Eagles are going to get a first down all the way up to the 18, 19-yard line. Big time play right there. Big time pass from Durrett.
Yeah, that's a senior making a senior play right there. He saw Mikey Gonzalez coming off the edge on that rush and just able to give himself enough time to catch, for that pass.
Huge 15-yard reception right there made by the Eagles. First down. That gives them some breathing room. Just under 9 minutes remaining here in the ball game. A lot of movement. And finally, a penalty flag as the Raiders corral the ball carrier. I think that's going to be a false start. Kind of a late call, though.
Here's the question: do you decline it or do you accept it?
I would decline it. I think the tackle's right at the line of scrimmage. Maybe a loss. Let's see. I think they're going to accept it, make it a 1st and 15. Got to push the ball back to the 13-yard line. 1st and 15. 8:45 remaining in the ball game. It's been a well-contested game between 2 fine football programs. PSJA North representing the Rio Grande Valley and Corpus Christi Veterans Memorial representing the Coastal Bend. And we're going to have another false start. So the Eagles are going backwards, push back to their own 8-yard line. First down marker sits all the way at the 28-yard line.
And the Raiders really giving on our side over here, Javi, on the closest side to us, they're giving more of a tighter coverage.
Mm-hmm.
They have Palacios over the top. It looks like they're double teaming. I'm not sure who that is. It looks like they're double teaming Moya, and they have a soft coverage on the far side, and that's why they're able to gain so many yards.
Durrett fires, throws, and that is almost intercepted. That would have been huge for the Raiders. Instead, it's an incomplete pass. So that's going to bring up a 2nd and 20 from the 8-yard line. The clock stops at 8:07.
Javi, if Palacios stays put, that
Mhm.
is a interception that he is taking back for 25 yards for a touchdown.
That could have been a pick six. Instead, it's an incomplete pass. It's a game of inches, John. And, that time the Eagles survived. Second down, 8:07 remaining. Durrett looking, fires, going deep. He's got a man open, and that is going to be a reception, juking his defender after the reception, putting on a burst of speed. No one is going to catch that man. Tremendous run by Christian Sapsuk. Electrifying run after the reception. The Eagles now take a commanding 20-7 lead with 7:52 remaining in the ball game. This is a great pass by the quarterback Durrett. A better job by the receiver. Broke a tackle. Put on the Jets, and the Eagles are now up 20-7, pending the extra point. A 92-yard touchdown pass to Sapsuk.
And I think what happened right there, Javi, was that Palacios wasn't over the top right, and it was just a straight fade. He uses speed, and again they're giving so much. They're in a soft coverage, and he was just able to blow by him. As we see here, a blocked extra point.
The Raiders are going to try to return it. They got a wall. It's a lot of running room. And Aparicio gets belted. No, that was not Aparicio. Excuse me. That was Leroy Palacios who gets belted after the return. And now we have a penalty flag as well.
We actually have two flags. We had one after the play. I'm not sure if that's going to be on a maybe sideline interference or something, and then we're going to have one in the end zone.
Yeah, we have one flag sitting at about the 3-yard line, the other one at the 24. So we're going to sort out the laundry and see what happens here. As of right now, the extra point was no good. With 7:52 remaining in the ball game, it's Eagles 20, Raiders 7. Of course, they're sorting out a couple of penalties on that missed extra point brought back out by the Raiders by Palacios.
Yeah, we really hadn't seen Corpus Christi, come out airing the ball like that. They've had a little bit of short dump passes here and there.
So the penalty, I believe, if we could hear correctly, was against the Eagles. And that'll be marked off on the kickoff. Extra point will be no good. It is 20-7 in favor of the Eagles over the Raiders with 7:52 remaining in the ball game. So the Eagles will be kicking off from their own 25-yard line. So the Raiders should have good, solid field position. And in all instance, Jonathan, this is one of those drives you got to come up with points. I don't care if it's a field goal. You got to come up with something. You got to cut into the lead. A touchdown would be preferable for the Raiders.
I think no matter what, you got to score a touchdown here, Javi. You're going to get the ball back maybe at about the 30-yard line. If you can get a good run back, 40, 50-yard line, you're going to have about 7 minutes and 30 seconds to work with to come score points. And what's working in your favor right now is that the Eagles missed an extra point right there.
Right.
So
that's huge.
So that really is. If you can come down and score and your defense can come up with a big stop, you have the opportunity to march down the field, put 6 on the board and a chance to win it with an extra point.
So the Eagles will be kicking off from their own 25. As you mentioned, the Raiders with a golden opportunity to have excellent field position. And, of course, scoreboard reads 20-7. Of course, is a proud production of KTRI. I'm Javi Martinez. Of course, I'm with my good buddy, my brother, Jonathan Golgota. And the kickoff, it's a boomer. It's going to drive the return man all the way back to the 10. Did he perhaps outkick the coverage as the Raiders have a great return set up here? And that could possibly be a penalty flag, and they're going to say no as a couple of players get bumped out of bounds rather rudely here on the home sideline. No flags, though. The Raiders are going to have good solid field position at their own 41-yard line, trailing by 2 scores.
Here's my question to you, Javi. If you're PSJ North, do you try to get a quick 7 points and hopefully your defense can make a stop, or do you try to take maybe 3 or 4 minutes off the clock and put your defense in a very uncomfortable position?
Yeah, right now, we still got 7:42 remaining in the ball game. I think you stick with what got you here, Jonathan. Use that running game, pound it. If you can get up each around the edge to, get it over the top, possibly get some big yardage. At the end of the day, Jonathan, you need to score, regardless of whether you get it in a minute, 5 minutes, 6 minutes. Then the defense has got to get a defensive stop. But first things first, and we're going to have a penalty against the Raiders. So instead of 1st and 10, it'll be 1st and, okay, so the penalty is against the Raiders on the kickoff. So it'll be the Raiders not starting from the 41, but from their own 36. 1st and 10 upcoming. And on 1st down, Jason Montes trying to fight for his life. Nowhere to go. Tackle for a loss for the Eagles defense. Back to the 33-yard line. For loss of 3, so 2nd and 13 upcoming.
Yeah, this essentially is, this is your season right here, Javi. You don't score any points, you can pretty much, say that the season's over for the Raiders.
Well, the Raiders have 7 minutes to work with. A errant pass off the arm of Aparicio. Couple of receivers in the general vicinity there, but no one can come up with the reception. So 3rd and 13 upcoming for the Raiders from their own 33-yard line. 6:54 remaining after that incomplete pass. I think it's way too early though, Jonathan, to go for it on 4th down. So it'll be 3rd down. This is a situation right here where the Raiders need to pick up at least half of the yards to think about going for a 4th down opportunity, but I think it's still a little bit too early. Let's see what happens here on 3rd and long. And the Raiders are going to move the ball up to the 41-yard line. Rendon getting the Raiders up to the 41, 8-yard pickup. 4th down and 5 upcoming from the 41-yard line. Raiders need to get to the 46. They still have all 3 timeouts. 6:25 remaining in the ball game. It is 4th down territory for the Raiders. It's all or nothing here. Mauricio, quarterback keeper. He's got a lot of running room. Can he pick up the 1st down? He will as he jets out of bounds at the 45-yard line. Well,
I think they're marking him short, Javi. I thought he had gone to the 1st down marker.
yeah, I think he got to the 46. I'm not sure about that spot. And if it is where it is, well, they're good. They'll get interesting here. Well, they're going to call for a measurement. We can't see, of course, because of the Eagles football players blocking our view.
I actually think the ball is closer to about the 46-yard line. The VAR judge actually had it marked inside about the 45.
Aparicio needed to get to the 46. It's going to be very close. It's going to call for a measurement.
I think if he gets that first down, Javi, it's going to be by the nose of the ball because that's extremely close.
I don't think he got it. I didn't like the spot dunk. I'm going to be honest with you. We don't want to go against the refs at any time, at any point, but I think Aparicio got to the 46. They said he barely got past the 45, shy of the 46. In either case, it's a subjective call. It is what they saw on the field. We were blinded by the football players, the Eagles football team, and the Eagles come up with a huge stop, and they're going to have the ball at the Raiders' 45-yard line with 6 minutes remaining in the ball game. And on first down, the Eagles are going to work their way up to the 42, gain of 3.
Yeah, when do you start calling your timeouts is my question too, Javi, because there's 5 minutes left, and the Eagles are gonna run this ball with about 20 with about 5 seconds left on the play clock. That's what I'm doing. If I'm coaching this team, I'm gonna take as much time as I can off that play clock and not possibly not give the ball back to PSJA North.
Well, I think the best case scenario right here for Coach Kaufman and the Raiders is to put the Eagles in a 3rd and long, and I think that's when you call a timeout, ensuring that you can get the Eagles offense off the field. And the Raiders had them bottled up in the backfield. Instead, gaining forward momentum are the Eagles up to the 38-yard line, gain of 4. It appeared the Raiders were going to get the running back in the backfield. Instead, it's a big-time pickup. We are at the 5-minute mark, and it's going to be a 3rd and 3. And, of course, the Raiders and Coach Kaufman are going to let this clock wind down because, Jonathan, you can't exhaust all your 3 timeouts, and then in all essence, the Eagles are a couple first downs away from winning the ballgame. You got to give yourself a chance, and it starts with the Raiders' black shirt defense getting a stop on 3rd down. It's a give. It's a tackle in the backfield, and the Raiders' defense comes up with a huge play. Big old number 99, the Manster, Danny Garcia with a tackle in the backfield.
That's a great tackle right there by Garcia.
That's huge.
Who he literally tackled him by one hand. That's the will to win right there, Javi. You're trying to do everything you can for your team, and I think that Danny Garcia actually gave PSJA North, just a little bit of an opportunity to stay in this ballgame.
Well, it's with 4:31 remaining in the ballgame, a tremendous effort right there by Danny Garcia. It's going to be 4th and 4. Interestingly, though, Bittner for the Eagles calls a timeout with 4:31 remaining in the ballgame. So Bittner is probably saying, you know what, gentlemen, let's get a first down and let's win ourselves a regional championship. And, of course, the Raiders and Coach Kaufman are saying, let's get a defensive stop and let's come back and shock the world and take it from the Eagles. So big-time high drama here at Buccaneer Stadium. It's 4th down and 4 for the Eagles at the Raiders' 39-yard line. First down marker sits at the 35. Big-time play. Durrett, shotgun. Durrett getting last-second instructions. There's 10 on the play clock. Of course, the clock is stopped at 4:30. Durrett now in punt formation, so it'll be a high booming punt, a beautiful punt indeed, and it's going to be perhaps inside the 10. What a gem of a punt if it is, and they're going to say it's at the 6-yard line. So the special teams for the Eagles do their job. The Raiders are going to have a long way to go. They got to go 94 yards. They got to get there very quickly. The Raiders are down by 13 to the Eagles 20-7. With 4:24 remaining in the ball game.
Yeah, that's a great punt right there by Durrett, who serves as the punter also. And again, that just comes with experience. Javi, you're a senior. You've been in this situation before. You know what it's going to take. And I tell you what, though, PSJA North, they got a golden opportunity right here, Javi. You can score a quick touchdown your special teams has played good all year long. They have a tremendous onside kick unit, which we haven't seen, and I was expecting to see early on. We see here a quick pass from Aparicio to Fuentes.
Fuentes with a fine reception, getting up to the 10-yard line. So good 4-yard pickup. Well, they're going to spot him down at the 11. 5-yard pickup. The Raiders got to hurry, though. 4 minutes remaining in the ball game. They're down by 2 scores. This is where you got to take at least one shot every once in a while, going deep. It's another quick toss. Great job. Great reception. Again, Fuentes with the reception. Pushed out of bounds at the 14-yard line. Couple yards shy of the first down. So 3rd and 2 upcoming from the 14 for the Raiders. 3:50 remaining in the ball game.
Yeah, you're absolutely correct. I'm real surprised they didn't take an opportunity or take a chance, excuse me, on that first play. You're right, Javi. Time's not in your favor right now. You got to get a quick strike, and you can chip away yards all you want, but that's what the Eagles are going to give you. They're going to give you those 2, 3, 4 yards, and as we see a incomplete pass here from Aparicio to Guerra.
A little bit too much mustard on that toss right there. Incomplete. So 4th down upcoming for the Raiders. And pretty much this is the season right here, Jonathan. This is the season for the Raiders. They've got to pick up a first down. If they do not, the Eagles are in prime position to extend their lead and put the nail in the coffin. But the Raiders, let's say that offensive line can do their job here. And well, as I say that, they perhaps are going to get flagged for a false start.
Oh, wow. Actually, they're going to get a first down, Javi. They're going to get called for a delay of game. It could be because of that shift.
Okay. I when I saw delay of game, I said, man, there was plenty of time on the play clock. But, yes, I'm not sure why exactly it was called a delay of game. But the Eagles are going to give the Raiders 5 yards. That's going to give the Raiders a first down up to the 19-yard line with 3:46 remaining in the ball game. Raiders need to find that urgency and get it on the board quickly. Aparicio throws underneath. Reception is made. And does the ball carrier get out of bounds? He will after the reception. I think that's the other thing you got to be smart about there, Jonathan, is if you make a catch near the sideline,
just get out of bounds.
You got to get out of bounds. Get a yard, get 2 yards more. But ensure that the clock stops, and the clock stops with 3:39 remaining in the ball game. Raiders have moved from the 6 all the way up to the 26-yard line. Still a long way to go. Under center, I formation. Aparicio fakes it. This time they're going to try to go over the top. He's got a man, and great defense. Double coverage.
Yeah, that was great defense right there. That's a Sabsuk once again on defense. Just that's smart right there. I'm not sure if he's been playing defense.
Yes, he has.
Okay,
yes, he has.
Yeah, and that's smart. How you're using your fastest guy in your team both on offense and defense, especially at that corner position. Sabsuk just stayed toe-to-toe with him. He matched him stride for stride and was able to get a hand on that ball.
Yeah, Sabsuk really showing off his athleticism there. Fine receiver, fine secondary help right there. 3rd down from the 26. Pass is going to sail incomplete. Fourth down upcoming from the 26. So 4th and 3. So again, the Raiders now with 3 minutes and 29 seconds are fighting for their lives here on 4th down, 4th and 3. And again, the Eagles playing really tight coverage. They still have all 10, 11 men in the box, maybe 10, one man playing center field for them. Aparicio looks, gets flushed out of the pocket. Can he pick up the first down? He throws. He's got a man wide open. Streaking down the sideline are the Raiders still. And the Raiders finally get bumped out of bounds inside the 30. question is, did Aparicio cross the line of scrimmage? No penalty. So obviously he did not. Tremendous effort by Aparicio. I thought he was going to run for the first down. He saw a man wide open. The Raiders are in business. They get the ball down to the Eagles' 29-yard line.
I was about to say, Javi, if you're one of our 15,000 viewers and you're going to sign off, you got to stay online because the PSJA North Raiders just made this game a little bit more interesting, putting the ball on the Eagles 30-yard line.
That was a 45-yard pickup by the Raiders. Aparicio looking for more. The reception is made, trying to slip a tackle. I believe it's either Arredondo. I believe it's Arredondo, right? At about the 7-yard line. So 22-yard pickup there. The previous play was a 45-yard pickup. So Aparicio having himself a fine game passing-wise. Aparicio now with 152 yards passing. The Raiders have 186 yards rushing for 338 total yards. The Eagles with 289 total yards. Raiders second down from the 7. Aparicio looks, fires, and the receiver slips as he made his break towards the ball. So incomplete pass. Third down upcoming. 2:59 remaining in the ball game.
Yeah, I think what happened there was Aparicio threw the ball a little bit too early. Didn't allow his receiver. That was number 17, Isaac Willingham. Didn't allow him to get off his break.
Mm-hmm. A good job by that offensive line. They gave Aparicio a lot of time. Third down, third and goal right here for the Raiders. Of course, 4 down territory. Raiders trying to keep themselves in this ball game. 2:59 remaining in the ball game. Eagles 20, Raiders 7. A lot of men in motion, and that's going to push the Raiders backwards.
And I mean, it's loud down there, Javi. I'm not sure if maybe the center can't hear the snap or the snap count isn't what Aparicio is expecting. I'm not sure because that's maybe the second or third time we've seen that where there's already a man going downfield in motion and they just can't get the snap off.
Well, that's a big 5-yard penalty. Pushes the ball back to the 12-yard line, so it'll be third and goal from the 12 for the Raiders. 2:59 remaining in the ball game. What's at stake? A state semifinal game against College Station. Aparicio throws. He's got man wide open. The reception is made. Diving into the end zone are the Raiders. The Raiders hit pay dirt, and that's going to cut the lead into 20-13. Aparicio sits in the pocket. Broken coverage in the secondary. Receiver was wide open. 7-yard touchdown pass from Aparicio. The Raiders are right back in it.
Oh, yeah, and just when you thought the Raiders were out of this game, they're right back in this ball game. A big extra point here.
And it'll be good. So that time, Diego Maldonado does convert. Scoreboard now reads Eagles 20, Raiders 14 with 2:52 remaining in the ball game. It's just a tremendous gutsy drive by the Raiders. 10 plays, 94 yards, capped off by a touchdown pass from Aparicio. And the Raiders, with that extra point, make the game 20-14, 2:52 remaining. The Raiders have 2 timeouts. The Eagles have 2 timeouts. Jonathan, is it onside kick time?
I'm dialing it up right here, Javi. You especially because you're so good at it. You know, we've seen them convert that onside kick multiple times. We saw it against Donna. We saw it against Corpus Christi Miller. And I'm gonna pat myself on the back because I called it on the first play that there was gonna be an onside kick. And you know, the kicker, Diego Maldonado, does such a great job of that middle onside kick. And don't be surprised if we see it right here, Javi. I think it's coming. You just definitely gotta call it right now.
Well, in either case, we got 2:52 remaining in the ball game. The Eagles are anticipating it. It's going to be It's going to take a high hop, and the Eagles, I believe, their special hands team, do get the kickoff. So the Eagles have the ball at their own 44-yard line.
That was actually Durrett with that onside kick
Mhm.
recovery. No, excuse me, that wasn't Durrett. That looks like Tomas Garcia, number 7.
So Garcia credited with the catch there on the onside kick, 44-yard line is where the Eagles will start with 2:48 remaining of the ball game. The Raiders have 2 timeouts, meaning, Jonathan, they've got to play well here on first down. They've got to get a defensive stop here on first down. They got to make a great play on second down. That's when you can use your timeout on third down and possibly force a punt and use a timeout on fourth down. On first down, the Eagles are thinking otherwise. The Eagles are going to move the ball up to about the 48-yard line. So big gain of 4 from that Eagle running attack. 2nd and 6 upcoming.
I'll tell you what, Javi, Moya coming into this game, I believe didn't have very many rushing yards. He had 762 rushing yards on 90 carries.
Right.
And he's been doing a great job for the Eagles. He's a very patient runner. They run that way. It looks like a zone read option, but I don't really think it is. I think it's just more of a give. He does a great job with it. He's very patient. He's able to make himself small and just find any gap that he can.
2nd down. Quarterback keeper. Can he get around the edge? And he's going to slide down. And that is going to draw a penalty as Durrett slid right at the 50-yard line. The Raider defensive back couldn't hold up. I think, well, the Eagles are going to get credited with a first down after a 15-yard penalty against the Raiders for a personal foul. That's going to move the ball up to the 35-yard line of the Raiders.
That's really tough right there, Javi, because you're not sure if he's sliding or not, and your momentum's already bringing you forward.
So 1:48 remaining in the ball game. Eagles are a minute and a half away from earning a right to the state semifinals. The Raiders still have two timeouts remaining. And the Eagles are going to keep it on the ground. And the Raiders finally do use one of their last 2 timeouts, as the Eagles are going to be facing a 2nd and 8 from the 33-yard line. And Jonathan, it's been a great game. I think, as I always say, Jonathan, especially in the playoffs, you got 2 great teams going at it. And unfortunately, one is going to get a loss and end the season. Those guys are going to sit down. Those guys that are going to keep standing up and advancing are the winners. And, I think tonight both teams deserve an opportunity to get to the state semifinals. But right now, the Eagles with an advantage of 20-14 with 1:26 remaining.
Yeah, and PSJA North, if they go on to lose this game, Javi, they had their opportunities. That first drive, it stalled, inside the 10-yard line. You had an opportunity to score a touchdown again, and then you cough it up on 4th down, and you turn the ball over, and then the Eagles come and score on a 90, I believe it was a 92-yard pass.
Yes.
And so just PSJA North just had multiple opportunities to really, they could have really run up the score, Javi, if in my opinion. But again, it's just a very good Eagles team, and the season's not over yet, Javi. There's 1:26 left. You got 1 timeout. You're probably going to stop the clock with about 1:23, 1:22 seconds.
Well, they got to get a stop first, getting around the edge and barreling over a couple of defenders is the ball carrier. And, the interesting part, again, is the ball carrier landed on a couple of defenders and fell out of bounds. That should be a stoppage of the clock. I'm not sure why they said the ball carrier was in bounds. Maybe I'm being a bit picky. Maybe I'm being a bit biased now. But critical calls have definitely not gone in favor of the Raiders this evening.
Yeah, and in all essence, if you're the Eagles, Javi, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go for it on 4th down, and regardless, you're going to give a long drive because
Right.
PSJA North is going to get the ball back with maybe about if they get the stop on fourth down, they're gonna get the ball back with maybe about 30 seconds left. If that might even be too nice, 30 seconds. So I mean, you got to march yourself down the field almost 70, 80 yards. But again, we just saw them do it. They mustered up a good drive. They had a 1 minute drive, but now time is definitely not in your favor.
So the Eagles, 34 with a minute 12 remaining in the ball game. They're going to run it. And the Raiders are going to stuff them right at the line of scrimmage. Huge stop right there at the 29-yard line for no gain. So fourth down upcoming, 4th and 4. And I think you're right, Jonathan. I think you go for it. Of course, you get a first down, you win the game. If you don't, the Raiders are going to have about 24 seconds to work with. And well, I think this is one of those where, I think the Eagles get it down to 1 second. They call a timeout and really drop a play that they know is going to be surefire to work. And of course, this is a proud production of KTRI. I'm Javi Martinez, Jonathan Gongora. And I want to thank, Coach Orlando Garcia, our athletic director, for entrusting us and being out here and showcasing, not just our football players, but our band, our cheerleaders, our dancers throughout the entire football season. It's been a great run, Jonathan. Yeah, it's funny to think, week 1 just happened a few days ago, a couple of weeks ago, a month ago. As we were driving up here, of course, Orlando Garcia, messaged us, isn't it great playing football in December? And we said, yes, it's amazing. It's exciting.
Yeah, it sure is. And I saw a video earlier, and it says only special teams get to play in December.
That's right.
Regardless of the outcome of tonight's game, it's just one of those things, Javi, where you can't put your head down. You just put your stamp, in history in Rio Grande Valley. Not very many teams have been to the 4th round. And again, hasn't been done. It's becoming a trend now. Mission did it in 2018. Mission did it in Mission Veteran did it in 2018, yes. And then Pioneer just did it in 2020. So Rio Grande Valley, when it comes down to getting to this 4th round, is gonna eventually break this barrier. And I think this PSJA North team is gonna be the one to do it.
Quarterback rolling, and it's gonna go incomplete. And there's gonna be 20. Well, an extra second came off the clock. 19 seconds to go. The Raiders get the stop that they needed. Now let's see.
This is where you have to. This is one of those plays, Javi, where nobody's ever seen you. I expect the Eagles to drop 2 or 3 safeties back. They're gonna give up those outside. They're gonna give them anything on the outside. They're not gonna give away the big play. But we've seen PSJA North. When they run that, we haven't really seen them run the counter. They're real successful, or maybe they have. We just it's been so many plays ran that we might have missed it here and there. But PSJA North with 19 seconds with an opportunity to go to the state semifinals.
First pass is going to be deflected at the line of scrimmage, incomplete with 16 seconds remaining. And of course, I want to give a big congratulations and a big thank you to Danny Ramos, Matt, and Edgar. Danny, and of course, Matt and Edgar manning the cameras.
Yeah, and before we get off the air, Javi, I just want to, re-thank the superintendent of the schools for CCID, Dr. Roland Hernandez, and the senior director for athletics, Brenda Marshall, for just their hospitality from the moment we walked in this facility. They were extremely nice. They just an amazing group of individuals, and they've done a great job with this facility.
Aparicio throws, fires, and nearly intercepted. So it'll be 3rd down with 9 seconds to go. And we'll give a big shout out to our Kate department that I work for, especially Mr. Tafich, who does everything above and beyond everybody. And to one of my favorite golfers, I think she's got a chance to win district this year, Miss Cassie Monroy, and to her family. So exciting times. It's going to be perhaps 9 seconds left of PSJ ISD football. Let's hope for a miracle. We've seen it before. It's called a Hail Mary. 2 players playing safety for the Eagles, and the Raiders are going to pick up a first down, a fumble, and I think that fumble is going to ensure that the clock gets to zeros. And there we see it, folks. The Corpus Christi Veterans Memorial Eagles are jubilant. They're excited. Congratulations to you, Coach Bittner, and your team, your coaching staff. You have a fantastic team. Well-deserved victory. Best of luck next week at the regional semifinals against College Station. And for PSJA North, Coach Kaufman, hats off. From the end of last year, you said you were going to get this team to the regional finals, and it became a reality. And I tell you what, it's been a fun ride. And Jonathan, we're just blessed to be part of it.
Oh yeah, it's something that I've been telling everybody. It's a blessing to be part of this. It's a blessing. Especially being a PSJA North Raider alumni.
Mhm.
I was actually talking to my buddy Bobby Compian, who was part of that class from. We're graduates of 04, but it was the 03 football team who was led by Gilbert Cepeda. That was, they broke that barrier of
Right.
losing in the first round. They were able to beat, I believe it was Brownsville Rivera. Then they went over, I believe, to Laredo Nixon, and eventually lost 27-21 to a good O'Connor team. But I think that's where the stamp of PSJA North football started, to get into this tradition. And I think this group right here, Javi, is going to be one of those groups where we're going to see him here again next year. It's going to be definitely a senior ball club next year. And it's scary. It's scary to think that this could be the same matchup next year.
Well, the interesting thing is the Raiders have a lot of sophomores, a lot of juniors that contribute to their victories. The Corpus Christi Veterans Eagles at a little bit more seniors, more upperclassmen. So, again, it could be a rematch in the making. It would be another fantastic game. Jonathan, it's been a pleasure, as I mentioned to you, working with you this year. We did cover a lot of games. It was a beautiful season, and we saw a lot of exciting football. John, any last words before we sign off?
If you're PSJA North, you have nothing to hang your head low about. Thank you once again to everybody who got online to watch this game, and thank you to everybody who came out to support. This was truly a game for the Rio Grande Valley, and unfortunately PSJA North came up just a bit short today.
Well, congratulations once again to the Eagles. Raiders, you had a fantastic season. I'm proud of how PSJA ISD supported the Raiders, and all of the Rio Grande Valley supported the Raiders for that matter. On behalf of Jonathan Gongora, I'm Javi Martinez. I hope you enjoyed